Hello everyone. Welcome back to English Lab. My name is Jenny, and I am so happy you are here with me today. Today is going to be a very special lesson because we're going to talk about something that many students ask me about all the time. We're going to talk about TOEFL English listening practice and how you can learn English in the easiest way possible. I know that learning English can feel difficult sometimes. I know that listening to English can be scary, but don't worry. Today, I am going to help you understand everything step by step. I will speak slowly and clearly. I will use simple words. And I promise you that by the end of this lesson, you will feel more confident about learning English and preparing for the TOEFL test. So take a deep breath, relax, and let's begin this journey together. First, let me tell you something important. Learning English is not just about studying grammar rules or memorizing vocabulary words. Learning English is about understanding how people really speak. It is about training your ears to hear the sounds of English. It is about making your brain comfortable with the language. When you listen to English every day, something amazing happens in your brain. Your brain starts to recognize patterns. Your brain starts to understand rhythm. Your brain starts to feel comfortable with English sounds. This is why listening practice is so important. This is why I always tell my students that listening is the key to learning English well. Now, let me talk about the TOEFL test for a moment. TOEFL stands for Test of English as a Foreign Language. It is a test that many universities and colleges use to check if international students can understand and use English at an academic level. The TOEFL test has 4 sections. There is reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Today, we are going to focus mainly on the listening section because listening skills are the foundation of everything else. When you can listen well, you can speak well. When you can listen well, you can understand what you read better. When you can listen well, you can write better too. Everything is connected. Listening is the most important skill you need to develop first. Let me tell you about the TOEFL listening section. In the TOEFL listening section, you will hear conversations and lectures. These conversations might be between students, or between a student and a professor, or between a student and a university staff member. The lectures will be similar to real university lectures. They will talk about different subjects like history, science, art, or literature. After you listen to each conversation or lecture, you will answer questions about what you heard. The questions will ask you about main ideas, details, the speaker's purpose, and the speaker's attitude. Some questions will ask you to make inferences, which means you need to understand something that the speaker did not say directly. This might sound difficult, but don't worry. With practice, you can do it. With the right practice, you can improve your listening skills every single day. Now, I want to share something with you. Many students make the same mistake when they prepare for TOEFL listening. They listen to difficult material right away. They try to listen to fast English. They try to listen to complicated lectures. But this is not the right way to start. Think about it this way. When you learn to swim, you don't jump into the deep water on your first day, right? No, you start in the shallow water. You practice the basic movements. You build your confidence slowly. Learning English is the same. You need to start with easy material. You need to build your foundation first. You need to train your ears with simple English before you move to more difficult English. So, how do you start? Let me give you a complete guideline. Let me show you exactly how to learn English from the very beginning. First, you need to understand that learning English is a journey. It is not something that happens in one day or one week. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes consistent practice. But the good news is that every single day you practice, you get better. Every single day you listen to English, your brain becomes stronger. Every single day, you make progress. You might not see the progress immediately, but trust me, it is happening. Your brain is working hard to learn this new language. The first step in learning English is to listen every day. I cannot say this enough. You must listen to English every single day. Even if you listen for only 10 minutes, that is okay. Even if you listen for only 5 minutes, that is better than nothing. The key is consistency. The key is making English a part of your daily life. Think about children. How do children learn their first language? They listen. They listen to their parents speaking. They listen to people around them speaking. They listen for months and months before they even say their first word. And after they say their first word, they listen for years before they can speak fluently. This is natural language learning. This is how the human brain learns languages. You need to give yourself time to listen. You need to give yourself permission to just listen without pressure. Now, what should you listen to? This is a very important question. In the beginning, you should listen to simple English. You should listen to English that is made for learners. You should listen to English where the speaker talks slowly and clearly, just like I am talking to you right now. There are many resources for this. You can listen to English learning podcasts. You can watch English learning videos on YouTube. You can listen to simple English stories. You can listen to basic English conversations. The most important thing is that you understand most of what you hear. If you understand about 70 to 80% of what you hear, that is perfect. That is the right level for you. If you understand less than 50%, the material is too difficult. Find something easier. There is no shame in starting with very basic English. Everyone starts somewhere. The important thing is that you start. Let me give you some practical examples. In the morning, when you wake up, you can listen to a simple English podcast while you brush your teeth. This takes only 3 or 4 minutes, but you are training your ears. While you eat breakfast, you can watch a short English learning video. While you travel to work or school, you can listen to English on your phone. While you exercise, you can listen to English. While you cook dinner, you can listen to English. Do you see what I am doing here? I am showing you how to add English to your daily activities. You don't need to sit at a desk for hours. You don't need to study grammar books for hours. You just need to fill your day with English sounds. You need to surround yourself with English. This is called immersion. When you immerse yourself in English, your brain has no choice but to learn. Your brain is amazing. Your brain will figure it out. Now, let me talk about something very important. When you listen to English, you need to listen actively. What does this mean? Active listening means you are paying attention. Active listening means you are trying to understand. Active listening means you are not just hearing sounds in the background. Many people make the mistake of playing English in the background while they do other things and not paying attention. This is called passive listening. Passive listening is okay sometimes, but it is not enough. You need active listening to really improve. So, how do you practice active listening? Let me tell you. When you listen to something in English, focus on it. Put away your phone. Don't do other tasks that need your full attention. Just listen. Try to understand the main idea. Don't worry if you don't understand every single word. That is normal. That is okay. Just try to get the general meaning. After you listen, ask yourself, what was this about? What was the main point? If you can answer this question, you are doing great. Here is another tip for active listening. Listen to the same thing multiple times. Yes, you heard me correctly. Listen to the same audio or video 2 times, 3 times, maybe even 5 times. Each time you listen, you will understand more. Each time you listen, you will catch words you missed before. Each time you listen, your brain will make new connections. This is one of the most powerful ways to improve your listening skills. I know some students think this is boring. They want to listen to something new every time. But trust me, repetition is the secret to success. When you listen to something multiple times, the English enters your brain deeply. It becomes part of your memory. It becomes part of your natural understanding. Let me give you an example of how to use repetition. Let's say you find a simple English conversation that is 3 minutes long. On Monday, listen to it once and try to understand the main idea. On Tuesday, listen to it again and try to understand more details. On Wednesday, listen to it again and try to notice the pronunciation of specific words. On Thursday, listen to it again and try to notice the grammar structures being used. On Friday, listen to it one more time and see how much you understand now. I promise you, by Friday, you will understand almost everything. This is the power of repetition. This is how you train your brain to understand English naturally. Now, let's talk about vocabulary. Vocabulary is very important for listening comprehension. If you don't know the words, you cannot understand what people are saying. But here's the thing. You don't need to know every word in the English language. You need to know the most common words first. There are about 2,000 words in English that are used most frequently. If you know these 2,000 words, you can understand about 80% of everyday English. So, focus on learning common words first. Don't try to memorize long lists of difficult words. Don't try to learn words you will never use. Focus on practical, everyday vocabulary. Learn words that you hear again and again. How do you learn vocabulary effectively? The best way to learn vocabulary is through context. This means you learn words by seeing and hearing them in sentences, not by memorizing definitions from a dictionary. When you listen to English, you will hear the same words many times in different situations. This is how you learn what words really mean. This is how you learn how to use words correctly. For example, let's say you hear the word excited many times. You hear someone say, "I am excited about my trip." You hear someone else say, "She was so excited when she got the news." You hear another person say, "Are you excited for the party?" After hearing this word several times in different contexts, you understand what it means. You understand how to use it. You don't need to look it up in a dictionary. Your brain figures it out naturally. This is natural vocabulary learning. Of course, sometimes you will hear words you don't understand at all. That is normal. When this happens, don't stop immediately to look up the word. First, try to guess the meaning from context. Listen to the whole sentence. Listen to the sentences around it. See if you can figure out what the word means. This skill is called inferring meaning from context, and it is very important for the TOEFL test. In the TOEFL listening section, you won't be able to stop and look up words. You need to understand things as you hear them. So, practice this skill now. Practice guessing word meanings. You won't always be right, and that is okay. The practice itself is valuable. After you finish listening, if there is a word you really want to know, then you can look it up. But try to guess first. Let me tell you about another important aspect of listening. You need to understand connected speech. What is connected speech? In natural English, words connect together. Native speakers don't say each word separately with pauses in between. They link words together. They blend sounds. This is why English can sound so fast sometimes. But actually, it is not always about speed. It is about connection. Let me give you examples. When someone says want to, it sounds like wanna. When someone says going to, it sounds like gonna. When someone says give me, it sounds like gimme. When someone says did you, it sounds like did you. This is completely normal and natural in English. You need to train your ears to recognize these connections. The more you listen to real English, the more you will get used to these patterns. Your ears will start to recognize them automatically. Pronunciation is also very important for listening. You might think pronunciation is only important for speaking, but that is not true. Pronunciation is important for listening too. When you know how words are supposed to sound, you can recognize them when you hear them. Many students have trouble with listening because they learned pronunciation incorrectly. They learned words by reading them, and they created their own pronunciation in their minds. Then, when they hear the correct pronunciation, they don't recognize the word. For example, many students pronounce the word Wednesday as Wednesday in their minds. But native speakers say Wednesday. If you have the wrong pronunciation in your head, you won't recognize the word when you hear it. So, always learn pronunciation correctly from the beginning. Listen to how native speakers say words. Repeat after them. Record yourself and compare. Make sure your pronunciation is close to the correct pronunciation. Now, let me talk about different accents in English. English is spoken all around the world. There are British accents, American accents, Australian accents, Canadian accents, and many others. Even within America, there are different accents. Someone from New York sounds different from someone from Texas. Someone from London sounds different from someone from Scotland. This can be confusing for learners. My advice is this. In the beginning, focus on one main accent. If you are preparing for TOEFL, focus on American English because the TOEFL test primarily uses American accents. Listen to American English podcasts, watch American English videos, learn American pronunciation. Once you feel comfortable with one accent, then you can explore other accents. But in the beginning, it is easier to focus on just one. Don't confuse yourself by mixing too many different accents at the start. Let's talk about the TOEFL listening section in more detail now. As I mentioned before, you will hear conversations and lectures. The conversations are usually between two people and last about 2 to 3 minutes. The lectures are longer, usually about 4 to 6 minutes. You will take notes while you listen. Taking notes is very important because you cannot hear the audio again. After the audio finishes, you will answer questions. Let me give you some strategies for the TOEFL listening section. First, before the audio starts, you will see a picture and a brief introduction. Use this time wisely. Look at the picture. Read the introduction. This will give you context. It will help you predict what the listening will be about. For example, if you see a picture of a student and a professor in an office, you can predict that maybe the student has a problem or a question. If you see a picture of a classroom, you can predict that you will hear a lecture. This prediction helps your brain prepare. When the audio starts, listen for the main idea first. Don't worry about details in the first few seconds. Listen for the topic. What are they talking about? Once you understand the topic, Then you can focus on details. For conversations, pay attention to why the people are talking. What is the problem? What is the solution? What does the student want? What does the professor suggest? For lectures, pay attention to the structure. Professors usually organize their lectures in a clear way. They introduce the topic. They give main points. They give examples. They might compare and contrast things. They might explain cause and effect. Try to follow this structure in your mind. Try to see the organization. Taking notes during TOEFL listening is a skill you need to practice. You cannot write everything you hear. That is impossible. You need to write only the most important information. Write keywords, not full sentences. Write names, dates, numbers, and important facts. Use abbreviations and symbols to write faster. For example, you can write W/ instead of with. You can write because instead of because. You can draw an arrow to show cause and effect. Your notes are only for you, so it doesn't matter if they look messy. The only thing that matters is that you understand them. Practice taking notes every time you listen to English. This will make you faster and better at knowing what information is important. Let me tell you about the types of questions you will see in the TOEFL listening section. There are main idea questions that ask you about the overall topic or purpose of the listening. There are detail questions that ask you about specific information that was mentioned. There are function questions that ask you why the speaker said something. There are attitude questions that ask you about the speaker's opinion or feeling. There are organization questions that ask you about how the information was structured. And there are inference questions that ask you to understand something that was not stated directly. Each type of question requires a different skill. For main idea questions, you need to see the big picture. For detail questions, you need to remember or find specific information in your notes. For function questions, you need to understand the purpose behind words. For attitude questions, you need to listen to the speaker's tone. For organization questions, you need to follow the structure. For inference questions, you need to read between the lines, as we say. You need to understand what is implied. Let me give you tips for each question type. For main idea questions, ask yourself, if I had to explain this listening to a friend in one sentence, what would I say? That is usually the main idea. For detail questions, check your notes. Don't rely only on memory because you might hear 5 or 6 minutes of audio and you cannot remember everything perfectly. For function questions, think about the context. Why would someone say this at this moment? What were they trying to do? Were they giving advice? Were they disagreeing? Were they giving an example? For attitude questions, listen to how the person speaks, not just what they say. Do they sound excited? Do they sound doubtful? Do they sound enthusiastic? For organization questions, think about how the professor moved from one point to another. Did they give examples? Did they compare things? Did they explain a process? For inference questions, combine information from different parts of the listening. Think logically about what must be true based on what you heard. Now, I want to talk about a very important topic. Many students get nervous during listening tests. They panic if they miss something. They get stressed if they don't understand a word. Let me tell you something that will help you. It is okay to not understand everything. I repeat, it is okay to not understand everything. Even native speakers don't catch every single word when someone speaks quickly. The important thing is to understand enough to answer the questions. If you miss one word, don't panic. Keep listening. If you don't understand one sentence, don't stop. Keep listening. Usually, the speaker will explain important things in different ways. If something is really important, the speaker will say it more than once or give examples.
So, stay calm.
Stay focused. Don't let one small misunderstanding ruin your concentration for the rest of the listening. Here is a technique that can help you stay calm and focused. It is called mindful listening. Mindful listening means you are completely present in the moment.
You are not thinking about the past.
You are not worrying about the future. You are just here, right now, listening. Before you start a listening practice, take 3 deep breaths. Close your eyes for a moment. Clear your mind. Tell yourself, I am going to listen carefully and do my best. Then, when the audio starts, be completely present. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the audio. Don't be hard on yourself. Just refocus. This technique takes practice, but it really works. It helps you concentrate better. It helps you understand more. Let me share with you a study plan for improving your listening skills. This is a plan you can follow every day. It will take about 1 hour per day, but you can adjust it based on your time. In the morning, spend 15 minutes listening to something easy and enjoyable. This could be a simple English podcast, a basic English conversation, or an English learning video. The goal here is to wake up your ears. The goal is to make your brain comfortable with English sounds. Just listen and enjoy. Don't stress. Don't take notes. Just listen. Then, during the day, spend 20 minutes doing focused listening practice. This is where you practice with TOEFL-style listening materials. You listen to a conversation or a lecture. You take notes. You answer questions. You check your answers. You see what you got wrong and try to understand why. This is your serious practice time. This is where you build your skills. In the evening, spend 15 minutes listening to something in English that interests you. This could be a documentary about a topic you love. This could be a talk about something you find fascinating. This could be an interview with someone you admire. The key here is interest. When you're interested in the content, you pay attention naturally. You learn without feeling like you're studying. This is joyful learning. This is the kind of learning that sticks in your brain. Finally, before you sleep, spend 10 minutes reviewing what you learned today. Listen again to something you listened to earlier. Read your notes from your TOEFL practice. Think about new words you learned. This review helps your brain consolidate the information. It helps move information from short-term memory to long-term memory. Sleep is also very important for learning. When you sleep, your brain processes everything you learn during the day. So make sure you get enough sleep. Now, let's talk about resources. Where can you find good materials for listening practice? There are so many resources available today. For basic English listening, you can use websites like VOA Learning English or BBC Learning English. These websites have special news stories that are spoken slowly with simple vocabulary. They are perfect for beginners. For TOEFL preparation, there are many TOEFL preparation books that come with audio CDs or online access to listening materials. Some popular ones are published by Kaplan, Barron's, and Cambridge. You can also find TOEFL listening practice videos on YouTube. Many teachers share free TOEFL practice materials. For general English listening, you can use podcasts. There are podcasts specifically made for English learners, and there are also regular podcasts about topics that interest you. TED Talks are also excellent for listening practice because the speakers usually speak clearly and about interesting topics. Let me tell you about some specific podcasts that are great for learners. There is a podcast called English Class 101, which teaches English at different levels. There is All Ears English, which focuses on American English and culture. There is The English We Speak by BBC, which teaches common phrases and expressions. There is 6-Minute English, also by BBC, which has short episodes about interesting topics. For intermediate learners, regular podcasts about hobbies or interests are great. If you like cooking, listen to cooking podcasts in English. If you like technology, listen to technology podcasts in English. If you like sports, listen to sports podcasts in English. The more interested you are in the topic, the easier it is to understand, and the more you will learn. YouTube is an amazing resource for learning English. You can find thousands of English learning channels. You can find channels that teach grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and listening skills. You can watch videos about any topic you can imagine, all in English. The great thing about YouTube is that most videos have subtitles. Subtitles are the written words that appear at the bottom of the video. Subtitles can help you a lot in the beginning. When you listen and read at the same time, you make connections between sounds and words. You learn how words are pronounced. You learn new vocabulary. However, I have some advice about subtitles. In the very beginning, it is okay to use subtitles in your native language just to understand the content. But as soon as possible, switch to English subtitles. When you use English subtitles, you are reading English while hearing English. This is much better for learning. Your goal is to eventually not need subtitles at all. But that takes time. Use subtitles as a tool to help you along the way. Let me talk about something that students often struggle with: understanding fast speech. Native speakers seem to speak so fast, right? Actually, the speed is not always the problem. The problem is usually that you are not familiar enough with the language. Think about your native language. Can you understand fast speech in your native language? Of course you can.
Why?
Because you know the language so well. You have heard it thousands and thousands of times. You need to get to that level of familiarity with English. How do you do this? Through massive exposure. Through listening to English every single day for months and years. I know this sounds like a long time, but remember, you are not just preparing for a test. You are learning a language that you can use for your whole life. So, be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories. Celebrate the days when you understand a little more than yesterday. Celebrate when you recognize a word you learned last week. These small victories add up to big success. Here is a technique for practicing with fast speech. Find audio that is a little bit too fast for you. Listen to it once and try to understand what you can. Don't worry if you only understand 30 or 40%. That is fine. Now slow down the audio. Most audio players and video players have a speed control. You can slow down to 0.75 speed or 0.5 speed. Listen again at the slower speed. You will understand much more. Listen several times at this slower speed until you understand almost everything. Then speed it back up a little bit. Maybe try 0.85 speed. Listen at this speed. Then try 0.9 speed. Keep increasing the speed gradually until you can understand at normal speed. This technique trains your ears step by step. It doesn't throw you into the deep end. It helps you build confidence and ability gradually. Shadowing is another excellent technique for improving listening skills. What is shadowing? Shadowing means you listen to audio and repeat what you hear at the same time, like an echo. You try to match the speaker's pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm. This technique is powerful because it forces you to listen very carefully. You cannot shadow if you are not listening closely. Shadowing also improves your pronunciation and speaking, so it has multiple benefits. Here is how to practice shadowing. Choose an audio that is at your level or slightly below your level. Listen to it several times until you understand it well. Then, play the audio and try to repeat what you hear as you hear it. Don't wait for the speaker to finish.
Try to speak at the same time.
In the beginning, this will be difficult. You might be a few words behind. That is okay. Keep practicing. Over time, you will get better at staying with the speaker. Shadowing is like a workout for your brain and ears. It makes you strong. Let's talk about motivation because motivation is so important for long-term success. Learning English takes time. Preparing for TOEFL takes effort. Some days you will feel excited and motivated. Other days you will feel tired and want to give up. This is completely normal. Everyone feels this way sometimes. The key is to find your personal reasons for learning English. Why do you want to learn English? Maybe you want to study at an international university. Maybe you want to get a better job. Maybe you want to travel the world. Maybe you want to make friends from different countries. Maybe you want to read books and watch movies in English. Whatever your reason is, write it down. Put it somewhere you can see it every day. When you feel unmotivated, read your reason. Remember why you started. Remember what you are working toward. Another way to stay motivated is to track your progress. Keep a journal where you write about your English learning. Write about what you practiced each day. Write about new words you learned. Write about improvements you noticed. When you feel like you are not making progress, read your journal from a few weeks ago. You will see how much you have improved. You will remember things that were difficult before that are easy now. This will encourage you. This will remind you that you are moving forward, even when it feels slow. Progress in language learning is not always obvious day by day. But when you look back over weeks and months, you will see amazing changes. Finding a study partner or joining a study group can also help with motivation. When you learn with other people, you encourage each other. You share tips and resources. You practice together. You celebrate successes together. You help each other through difficult times. If you don't have anyone around you who is learning English, you can find study partners online. There are many websites and apps where language learners connect. There are online forums and social media groups for English learners. Join these communities. Be active. Ask questions. Share your experiences.
Help others when you can.
Being part of a community makes learning more enjoyable and less lonely. Let me talk about making mistakes because this is something that stops many students from progressing. Many students are afraid of making mistakes. They are afraid to speak English because they might say something wrong. They are afraid to try listening to difficult material because they might not understand. But let me tell you the truth. Mistakes are not your enemy. Mistakes are your teacher. Every mistake shows you something you need to learn. Every mistake is an opportunity to improve. The students who improve the fastest are the students who are not afraid to make mistakes. They try things even when they are not sure. They take risks. They learn from what goes wrong. So please, change your attitude about mistakes. Don't see them as failures. See them as stepping stones to success. When you make a mistake in listening comprehension, don't just feel bad about it. Analyze it. Why did you make this mistake? Did you not know a word? Then learn that word. Did you not hear something correctly? Then listen again and figure out what you missed. Did you misunderstand the main idea? Then think about why you misunderstood. Maybe you focused too much on details and missed the big picture. Learn from this. Next time, listen for the main idea first. Every mistake has a lesson. Every mistake makes you smarter if you pay attention to it. Now, let me give you some specific tips for the day of the TOEFL test. First, get a good night's sleep before the test. Your brain needs to be rested and alert. Eat a good breakfast. Bring water and snacks if the test center allows it. Arrive early so you're not stressed about time. During the test, stay calm. Remember all the practice you did. Trust in your abilities. For the listening section, use the preparation time wisely. When you see the introduction before each listening, read it carefully. Get your pencil or pen ready for notes. When the audio starts, focus completely. Block out everything else around you. Listen actively. Take notes of key information. When the audio ends, take a moment to review your notes before you look at the questions. This helps refresh your memory. When you answer questions, read each question carefully. Make sure you understand what it is asking. Look at all the answer choices before you select one. Eliminate answers that are clearly wrong. If you are not sure between two answers, try to remember what you heard. Check your notes. Think logically. Make your best guess. Don't leave any questions blank. There is no penalty for wrong answers on TOEFL, so always choose an answer even if you're guessing. After you finish the listening section, let it go. Don't think about it anymore. Don't worry about whether you did well or not. Focus on the next section. Each section is a new opportunity to do your best. Let me also talk about what to do after the TOEFL test. Whether you get the score you want or not, see the test as a learning experience. If you get a good score, celebrate. You worked hard and you deserve it. If you don't get the score you need, don't give up. Many successful people had to take the TOEFL test more than once. Each time you take it, you learn more about the test. You get more comfortable with the format. You identify your weak areas, and you can work on them. Taking the test again does not mean you failed. It means you are committed to reaching your goal. It means you are persistent. These are excellent qualities that will help you succeed in life, not just on a test. After you receive your scores, analyze them carefully. Look at your score for each section. If your listening score is lower than your other scores, you know you need to focus more on listening practice. Look at the feedback the test provides. Some score reports tell you which types of questions you struggled with. Use this information to guide your future study. If you struggled with main idea questions, practice identifying main ideas. If you struggled with detail questions, practice taking better notes. If you struggled with inference questions, practice reading between the lines. Targeted practice is more effective than random practice. Know your weaknesses and work on them specifically. I want to talk about maintaining your English skills after you reach your goal. Many students study hard for TOEFL, get the score they need, and then stop practicing English. This is a mistake. Language skills are like muscles. If you don't use them, they get weak. After you pass TOEFL and go to university or start your job or achieve whatever goal you had, continue to use English every day. Continue to listen to English. Continue to read in English. Continue to speak English when you have the opportunity. Continue to write in English. This will maintain your skills and continue to improve them. The English you learned is a valuable asset. Take care of it. Use it. Grow it. Let me share with you some inspirational stories. I have taught many students over the years. I remember one student named Maria. When Maria first came to me, she could barely understand simple English sentences. She was so nervous. She said, "Teacher, I don't think I can ever pass TOEFL. My listening is terrible." But Maria was determined. She practiced every single day. She listened to English for at least 2 hours every day. She followed the techniques I taught her. She didn't give up even when progress seemed slow. After 6 months of consistent practice, Maria took the TOEFL test. She got a listening score of 26 out of 30. She was so happy. She couldn't believe it. She said, "Teacher, I never thought I could do it, but I did." Maria's story shows that consistent effort leads to results. It shows that even if you start from a low level, you can reach your goal. I remember another student named Ahmed. Ahmed was different from Maria. He could understand English fairly well when people spoke slowly, but he struggled with the fast pace of TOEFL lectures. He would panic and lose focus. We worked together on staying calm and using the note-taking strategies. We practiced mindful listening. We practiced with progressively faster audio. Ahmed learned to trust himself. He learned that he didn't need to understand every single word. He learned to focus on main ideas and key details. After 3 months of focused practice, Ahmed took the test and scored 24 on listening. He was thrilled. He told me, "The techniques you taught me changed everything." I felt calm during the test. I felt in control. Ahmed's story shows that the right strategies and the right mindset make a huge difference. These stories are not unique. I have seen countless students transform their English skills through dedication and practice. You can be one of these success stories. You have everything you need inside you. You have intelligence. You have the ability to learn. You just need to give yourself time, use the right methods, and never give up. Believe in yourself. Trust the process. Every single day of practice matters. Every single minute of listening makes you better. You might not see the change today or tomorrow, but over weeks and months, the change will be undeniable. Now, I want to address something important. Some students ask me about shortcuts. They want to know if there is a quick way to improve listening skills. They want to know if there is a trick or a secret. I always tell them the truth. There are no real shortcuts in language learning. Yes, there are smart strategies that make learning more efficient. Yes, there are techniques that help you progress faster. I have shared many of these with you today. But at the end of the day, you still need to put in the time. You still need to practice consistently. You still need to expose yourself to English regularly. Think of it like learning to play a musical instrument. Can you become a good piano player by learning tricks?
No.
You need to practice playing the piano every day. English is the same. You need to practice listening to English every day. The good news is that listening to English can be enjoyable. It doesn't have to feel like hard work. When you choose materials that interest you, when you listen to topics you care about, practice becomes pleasure. Let me also mention the importance of variety in your listening practice. Don't listen to only one type of English. Don't listen to only one person's voice. Listen to different accents. Listen to men and women speaking. Listen to young people and older people. Listen to conversations, lectures, interviews, stories, news, and discussions. This variety prepares you for anything you might hear on the TOEFL test and in real life. The TOEFL test includes different topics from different academic fields. One lecture might be about biology. Another might be about history. Another might be about art. If you only practice with one type of content, you will be unprepared for this variety. So expose yourself to many different topics. Even if you are not interested in every topic, practice listening to them anyway. This builds your flexibility. This builds your ability to understand English in any context. I want to talk about the relationship between listening and the other English skills. Everything is connected in language learning. When you improve your listening, you also improve your speaking.
Why?
Because when you listen to correct English, you internalize correct patterns. You learn how sentences should sound. You learn natural word order. You learn common expressions. Then, when you speak, these patterns come out naturally. When you improve your listening, you also improve your reading.
Why?
Because you learn to recognize words faster. You build vocabulary. You understand grammar and context. When you read, you can hear the words in your mind, and this helps comprehension. When you improve your listening, you also improve your writing.
Why?
Because you learn how ideas flow together. You learn how to organize thoughts. You learn transitional phrases and connecting words. So when you practice listening, remember that you are not just preparing for one section of the TOEFL test. You are building a foundation that supports all your English skills. Let me give you some advice about dealing with difficult content. Sometimes you will listen to something and feel completely lost. Maybe it is too fast. Maybe it uses too much technical vocabulary. Maybe the speaker has an accent you are not used to. When this happens, don't force yourself to keep listening if you understand less than 30%. This will only frustrate you. It is okay to say, "This is too difficult for me right now. I will come back to it later." Find something at your level. Practice with that. Build your skills. Then, in a few weeks or a few months, try the difficult content again. You will be amazed at how much easier it seems. I have had this experience myself when learning other languages. Something that was impossible for me to understand became easy after I improved my skills. You need to challenge yourself, but you also need to be realistic about your current level. There is no benefit in practicing with material that is way above your level. You will just feel bad about yourself. Choose material where you understand most of it, but still learn something new. Now, let me talk about accent reduction for a moment. Some students worry a lot about their accent when they speak English. They want to sound exactly like a native speaker. But here is the truth. Having an accent is completely normal and acceptable. There are millions of people around the world who speak English with an accent and communicate perfectly well. The goal is not to eliminate your accent completely. The goal is to be clear and understandable. However, working on your pronunciation does help your listening skills. When you practice pronouncing words correctly, you train your mouth and your ears at the same time. You create a stronger connection between the sound and the word. So do practice pronunciation, but don't obsess over having a perfect native accent. Focus on clarity. Focus on being understood. I want to share with you a concept called comprehensible input. This is a term from language learning research. Comprehensible input means language that you can understand. Research shows that we learn languages best when we receive lots of comprehensible input. This means you should spend most of your time listening to English that you can understand, not English that is completely beyond you. When you understand the input, your brain can process it. Your brain can learn from it. When the input is too difficult, your brain cannot process it effectively. It is just noise. So always aim for that sweet spot where you understand most of what you hear, but still encounter some new language. This is where the magic happens. This is where learning occurs. Let me talk about setting realistic goals. Many students set goals that are too big and too vague. They say, I want to be fluent in English. But what does fluent mean? It means different things to different people, and it is hard to measure. Instead, set specific, measurable goals. For example, I want to score 22 on the TOEFL listening section. That is specific. That is measurable. Or, I want to be able to understand English podcasts about science without subtitles. That is specific and measurable. Break your big goal into smaller goals. If your ultimate goal is to score 25 on TOEFL listening, your smaller goals might be: first, understand simple English conversations. Then, understand conversations at normal speed. Then, understand short academic lectures. Then, understand longer academic lectures with note-taking. Each small goal builds toward the big goal. Each small goal gives you a sense of achievement along the way. This keeps you motivated. This keeps you moving forward. Time management is also very important. I know you are busy. Everyone is busy. You might be a student with classes and homework. You might be working. You might have family responsibilities. How do you find time to practice English every day? The answer is to make English part of your existing routine. You don't need to find extra time. You need to use your existing time more effectively. You brush your teeth every day, right? Listen to English while you brush your teeth. You commute to school or work. Listen to English during your commute. You exercise? Listen to English while you exercise. You cook? Listen to English while you cook. You clean your house? Listen to English while you clean. Do you see the pattern? You are doing these activities anyway. Just add English to them. This way, you are not taking time away from other important things. You are just making better use of the time you already have. Let me address the question of whether you should study alone or with a teacher. Both have advantages. Studying alone gives you flexibility. You can practice whenever you want. You can choose materials that interest you. You can move at your own pace. Studying alone is also free or very inexpensive. However, studying with a teacher gives you guidance. A teacher can identify your mistakes. A teacher can give you personalized advice. A teacher can motivate you and keep you accountable. A teacher can answer your questions. My recommendation is to do both if possible. Do most of your practice alone because you need many hours of practice, and hiring a teacher for many hours is expensive. But occasionally work with a teacher to get feedback and guidance. Even a few sessions with a good teacher can be very helpful. The teacher can point you in the right direction and help you avoid common mistakes. There are also online courses and apps for TOEFL preparation. Some of these are very good. They provide structured lessons. They provide practice tests. They provide feedback on your performance. They track your progress. If you are someone who needs structure, if you are someone who learns better with a clear path to follow, these courses can be very helpful. However, remember that no course or app can do the work for you. You still need to practice consistently. You still need to put in the effort. A course or app is just a tool. You are the one who determines your success. Use the tools available to you, but remember that your dedication and consistency are what really matter. Let me talk about dealing with frustration. There will be times when you feel frustrated with your progress. There will be times when you feel like you are not improving. There will be times when you listen to something and feel like you understand less than you did last week. This is normal. Progress in language learning is not linear. It does not go up in a straight line. Sometimes you have big jumps forward. Sometimes you have plateaus where you seem stuck at the same level for weeks. Sometimes you even feel like you are going backward. But you are not really going backward. What is happening is that you are consolidating your knowledge. Your brain is processing everything you have learned. After a plateau, you usually have a big jump forward. So when you feel frustrated, be patient with yourself. Trust the process. Keep practicing. The breakthrough will come. Here is another important point. Don't compare yourself to other learners. Everyone learns at a different pace. Someone might learn faster than you, but that does not mean you cannot reach your goal. Someone might have advantages that you don't have. Maybe they studied English in school for many years. Maybe they live in an English-speaking country. Maybe they have more time to practice. None of this matters. Your journey is your own. The only person you should compare yourself to is yourself from the past. Are you better today than you were last month? Are you better this month than you were 3 months ago? That is the only comparison that matters. Celebrate your own progress. Be proud of your own improvement. Don't let anyone else's success make you feel inadequate. You're doing great. You're working hard. You are moving forward. Let me give you some tips specifically for lectures in the TOEFL listening section. Lectures are longer and more complex than conversations. They contain more information. They use more academic vocabulary. They discuss abstract concepts. Here is how to approach them. First, listen for the topic and the professor's attitude toward the topic in the first minute. The beginning of a lecture usually introduces what the lecture will be about. The professor might say, "Today we are going to talk about," or "I want to discuss." Pay close attention to this. Write down the topic. Then, listen for the organization of the lecture. Professors usually give signals about how they are organizing their information. They might say, "First, I will explain. Then, I will discuss. Finally, I will show you." These are organizational signals. They tell you the structure. Write these down. They will help you follow the lecture. During the lecture, listen for main points and supporting details. Main points are the big ideas. Supporting details are examples, explanations, and evidence that support the main points. In your notes, distinguish between main points and supporting details. You can use indentation or symbols. For example, write main points on the left side of your paper and indent supporting details. Listen for transition words. Words like however, on the other hand, in addition, furthermore, in contrast, and therefore signal relationships between ideas. When you hear these words, pay attention. Something important is coming. Listen for emphasis. When a professor emphasizes something by repeating it, by speaking more slowly, by speaking more loudly, or by saying this is important, write it down. It will probably be in the questions. Listen for examples. Professors give examples to illustrate their main points. If you understand the example, you can understand the point even if some of the vocabulary was difficult. For example, if a professor is talking about adaptation in biology and gives the example of how polar bears have white fur to blend in with snow, you understand the concept of adaptation even if you didn't understand all the technical terms. Examples are your friends. They make difficult concepts clear.
Pay attention to them.
Listen for questions that the professor asks. Sometimes professors ask rhetorical questions to introduce a new topic or to make students think. These questions often point to important information. If the professor asks, "Why did this happen?" pay attention to the answer that follows. Let me talk about conversations in the TOEFL listening section. Conversations are usually easier than lectures because they are shorter and more informal. However, they require you to understand the purpose of a conversation and the relationship between the speakers. In most TOEFL conversations, a student has a problem or a question, and the other person helps them. As you listen, identify the problem. What does the student need? What is the issue? Then listen for the solution or advice. What does the other person suggest? Does the student accept the advice? Listen also for the attitude of the speakers. Are they friendly? Is the student worried? Is the professor sympathetic? These attitudes are often tested in the questions. In conversations, people don't always say exactly what they mean directly. They might imply things. They might be indirect to be polite. For example, if a student says, "I was wondering if maybe it would be possible to perhaps get an extension on the paper," they are asking for an extension, but they are being very indirect and polite about it. You need to understand what they really mean, not just the literal words. This is pragmatics, understanding the function and purpose of language in context. This skill is important for the TOEFL test and for real-life English communication. The best way to develop this skill is through lots of exposure to authentic English conversations. Watch English TV shows and movies. Listen to English podcasts where people have real conversations. Pay attention to how people express things indirectly. Now, let me give you a 30-day challenge. This is a challenge that can help you build a strong listening habit. For the next 30 days, commit to practicing English listening for at least 30 minutes every single day. No excuses. No exceptions. Even if you are tired, even if you are busy, find 30 minutes. It could be 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the evening. It could be all 30 minutes at once. Whatever works for you. But do it every single day for 30 days. Why 30 days? Because it takes about 30 days to form a habit. After 30 days of consistent practice, listening to English will become part of your daily routine. It will become automatic. You won't have to force yourself anymore. It will just be what you do. Track your progress. Each day, write down what you listened to and for how long. Put a check mark on a calendar for each day you complete. Seeing all those check marks will motivate you to keep going. After 30 days, evaluate your progress. Test your listening skills. See how much you have improved. I promise you will be amazed. Let me share some common mistakes that students make so you can avoid them. Mistake number 1. Translating in their head. Many students listen to English and try to translate every word into their native language in their mind. This is too slow. By the time you translate one sentence, the speaker has said 3 more sentences. You need to train yourself to think in English. This takes time, but it is possible. Start with simple English. Listen and understand directly without translating. Over time, your brain will adjust. Mistake number 2, trying to understand every single word. As I mentioned before, You don't need to understand every word. Focus on the general meaning. Focus on key information. Let go of the need to understand everything perfectly. Mistake number 3, giving up too quickly. Some students listen to something once, don't understand it, and quit. Remember, you should listen to the same material multiple times. Each time you will understand more. Mistake number 4, not practicing regularly. Some students practice for 3 hours one day and then don't practice for a week. This is not effective. Short, regular practice is much better than long, irregular practice. Your brain needs consistent exposure to learn a language. Mistake number 5, only practicing with textbook English. Textbook English is good for learning basics, but real English is different. Real English has contractions, slang, idioms, and connected speech. You need to expose yourself to real English too. Watch movies, watch TV shows, listen to podcasts, listen to real conversations. This prepares you for the real world. Mistake number 6, practicing without a goal. Some students just listen to English randomly, without any purpose. It is better to have a goal for each practice session. Maybe your goal is to identify the main idea. Maybe your goal is to catch specific details. Maybe your goal is to learn 5 new words. Having a goal makes your practice more focused and more effective. Let me talk about the importance of patience. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes persistence. In our modern world, we are used to getting things quickly. We order food, and it comes in 30 minutes. We search for information, and we get it in 2 seconds. But language learning does not work this way. You cannot rush it. You cannot force it. You can only practice consistently and trust that your brain is doing its work. Every time you listen to English, even if you don't understand everything, your brain is learning. Your brain is making connections. Your brain is building neural pathways. This happens below your conscious awareness. You might not feel like you are improving day by day, but you are. Trust the process. Be patient with yourself. Give yourself the time you need to succeed. I want to talk about motivation techniques that can help you on difficult days. First, visualize your success. Close your eyes and imagine yourself achieving your goal. Imagine yourself receiving your TOEFL score and seeing a high number on the listening section. Imagine yourself sitting in a university classroom, understanding the professor perfectly. Imagine yourself having conversations in English with confidence. Feel the emotions of success. This visualization can be very powerful. It reminds you why you are working hard. Second, use positive self-talk. Instead of saying, "I am bad at listening," say, "I am improving my listening skills every day." Instead of saying, "This is too difficult," say, "This is challenging, but I can do it." The words you say to yourself matter. They affect your confidence and your performance. Be kind to yourself. Be encouraging to yourself. Third, reward yourself for your efforts. When you complete a week of consistent practice, give yourself a small reward. Watch your favorite movie. Eat your favorite food. Do something you enjoy. These rewards create positive associations with practicing English. Your brain starts to see English practice as something that leads to good things. Fourth, remember your why. Why are you learning English? What will English allow you to do? Keep this reason in the front of your mind. Write it down and read it every day. When you remember your deep reason for learning, Motivation comes naturally. Fifth, connect with others who are also learning English. Share your struggles and successes. Encourage each other. When you see others working hard and making progress, it inspires you to do the same. Let me tell you about the science of learning. Research shows that our brains learn best through spaced repetition. This means it is better to review information multiple times over a long period than to study it all at once. For example, it is better to listen to something today, then listen to it again in 3 days, then again in 1 week, then again in 2 weeks. Each time you review, you strengthen the memory. The information moves from short-term memory to long-term memory. You can apply this principle to your listening practice. When you learn new vocabulary from a listening, review those words the next day, then 3 days later, then 1 week later. When you practice with a particular TOEFL listening, do it again a few days later to reinforce what you learned. Spaced repetition is one of the most powerful learning techniques backed by science. Another principle from learning science is active recall. This means you learn better when you try to remember information rather than just reviewing it passively. How can you apply this to listening? After you listen to something, pause and try to recall the main points without looking at your notes. What did you hear? What were the key ideas? Then check your notes to see if you were right. This active effort to remember strengthens your memory much more than just reading your notes again. You can also practice active recall with vocabulary. After learning new words, cover the definitions and try to remember what each word means. Then check to see if you were correct. This active engagement with the material makes learning more effective. The concept of neuroplasticity is also important to understand. Neuroplasticity means that your brain can change and grow throughout your life. Your brain is not fixed. When you practice new skills, your brain creates new connections between neurons. The more you practice, the stronger these connections become. This is true for language learning. Every time you listen to English, you are literally changing your brain. You are building new neural pathways. This is why consistent practice is so important. Each practice session builds on the previous one. Each practice session makes your brain stronger and more capable. This scientific understanding should give you confidence. You are not just hoping to get better. You are using your brain's natural ability to learn and adapt. Let me talk about dealing with test anxiety. Many students feel very nervous before and during tests. Their hands shake. Their heart beats fast. They can't concentrate. This anxiety can hurt their performance even if they prepared well. Here are some techniques to manage test anxiety. First, preparation is the best antidote to anxiety. When you have practiced a lot, when you know you have done your best to prepare, you naturally feel more confident. So prepare well. Practice regularly. This gives you a solid foundation of confidence. Second, practice relaxation techniques. Learn deep breathing. When you feel anxious, take slow, deep breaths. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, breathe out for 4 counts. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and calms your body. Third, practice mindfulness or meditation. Even just 10 minutes a day of sitting quietly and focusing on your breath can reduce anxiety significantly. There are many apps that can guide you through mindfulness exercises. Fourth, reframe your thoughts about the test. Instead of seeing it as a threat, see it as an opportunity to show what you have learned. Instead of thinking, "What if I fail?" think, "I have prepared well, and I will do my best." Fifth, Take care of your physical health. Exercise regularly. Eat healthy food. Get enough sleep. Your physical health affects your mental health. When your body is healthy, you feel better mentally and emotionally. Sixth, arrive at the test center early. Rushing and worrying about being late increases anxiety. Give yourself plenty of time to get there, check in, and settle down. Now, let me address something about the nature of tests. Tests measure your performance on one day at one time. They do not measure your worth as a person. They do not measure your intelligence completely. They do not determine your future absolutely. Tests are just one assessment of certain skills at one moment. If you don't do well on a test, it does not mean you are a failure. It means you need more practice, or you had a bad day, or the test did not reflect your true abilities. Don't let a test score define you. Don't let a test score destroy your confidence. Yes, tests are important for certain goals like university admission. Yes, you should prepare well and try your best. But remember that tests are not everything. Your value as a person does not depend on a number. Let me share some final thoughts about the journey of learning English. Learning a language is one of the most rewarding things you can do. Yes, it is challenging. Yes, it takes time and effort. But the rewards are enormous. When you learn English, you open doors to new opportunities. You can access information from around the world. You can communicate with people from different cultures. You can study in different countries. You can work in international companies. You can enjoy books, movies, music, and art in English. You can understand different perspectives. You can expand your mind. Language learning makes you smarter. It improves your memory. It improves your ability to focus. It improves your problem-solving skills. It makes your brain more flexible. All of these benefits stay with you for your entire life. Moreover, the process of learning a language teaches you valuable life skills. It teaches you patience. It teaches you persistence. It teaches you that big goals are achieved through small, consistent actions. It teaches you to be comfortable with not understanding everything immediately. It teaches you to try things even when you are not sure. It teaches you to learn from mistakes. It teaches you discipline and self-motivation. These are skills that will help you in every area of your life, not just in learning languages. So, even though learning English is challenging, embrace the challenge. See it as an opportunity to grow not just your language skills, but your character. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. Every fluent English speaker was once at your level. They didn't have any special talent that you don't have. They just practiced consistently. They didn't give up. They kept going even when it was hard. You can do the same. You have everything you need inside you. You have intelligence. You have determination. You have the resources available in our modern world. You have teachers and communities ready to help you. All you need to do is commit to the process. Commit to practicing every day. Commit to being patient with yourself. Commit to never giving up on your goal. As we come to the end of this lesson, I want to leave you with some action steps. First, decide right now that you will practice English listening every single day. Make this commitment to yourself. Second, create a study schedule. Decide when you will practice each day. Write it in your calendar. Treat it like an important appointment that you cannot miss. Third, gather your resources. Find some good listening materials at your level. Bookmark websites. Download apps. Prepare everything so you are ready to practice. Fourth, start today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for next month. Start today, right now. Listen to something in English today, even if just for 10 minutes. The sooner you start, the sooner you will see results. Fifth, track your progress. Start a journal where you write about your English learning journey. Write down what you practice each day. Write down new things you learn. Write down challenges you face and how you overcome them. This journal will become a valuable record of your progress. Sixth, be consistent. This is the most important thing. Practice every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when you are tired, even when you are busy. Consistency is the key to success. Seventh, be patient and kind to yourself. You will have good days and bad days. You will have times when you feel like you are improving and times when you feel stuck. This is all normal. Don't be hard on yourself. Keep going. Trust the process. I believe in you. I have seen so many students start from the beginning and achieve their goals.
You can be one of them.
You have the ability. You have the potential. All you need to do is unlock it through practice and dedication. Learning English will change your life in wonderful ways. It will open doors you never imagined. It will give you opportunities you never thought possible. The journey starts now.
Take the first step.
Begin your practice. Commit to your goal. Work toward it every single day. And before you know it, you will look back and be amazed at how far you have come. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Thank you for trusting me to guide you on your English learning journey. I hope this lesson has given you valuable information, practical strategies, and motivation to keep going. Remember, English Lab is here to support you every step of the way. Keep practicing. Keep improving. Keep believing in yourself. I am proud of you for taking this step to improve your English. You are investing in yourself, and that is the best investment you can ever make. I wish you all the success in your TOEFL preparation and in your English learning journey. You can do this. I know you can. Now go out there and practice. Listen to English every day. Build your skills step by step and achieve your dreams. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lesson. Keep learning, keep growing, and never give up. Goodbye for now, and good luck with your English learning journey.